If you bite me, that's okay, but you're not staying in this cage forever. That's what I said the first time I met Scout. He didn't flinch or growl, he just stared at me with eyes that had seen too much. Eyes that didn't trust anyone anymore. They called him unadoptable. That word was in bright red on his kennel card at the Whispering Pines Animal Shelter. I was only 12 years old, but I knew a label like that meant Scout was running out of time. My name's Evan Fisher, and I've learned that sometimes, both people and animals just need one person to believe in them. I wasn't supposed to be there that day, but I wandered down the hallway of barking voices. Most dogs were hopeful, but not Scout. He sat with his back to the door, a faded shadow in the corner with tangled fur and visible ribs. A volunteer told me he was a tough case found near train tracks, refusing to let anyone near him. I asked to sit with him. No heroics, just sitting on the cold concrete. For 2 weeks, I came back every day. I'd sit cross-legged, leaning against the wall, and talk about mundane things like baseball or my sister's notebooks. I'd leave a piece of my peanut butter sandwich halfway between us. On the 13th day, he finally moved. He crawled forward on his belly, took the sandwich, and sat back down. It was a start. The shelter couldn't keep him forever, especially with that unadoptable label. I convinced my parents to let us foster him. At first, he was a ghost in our laundry room. Our other dog, Boomer, would drop toys near him like a fuzzy golden statue. Slowly, Scout started to join us. The first time he touched me was during a story. He nudged my hand with his nose. Each day, he became less of a shadow and more of a dog. I even did a school project on him, showing my classmates that he wasn't broken, just hurt. When the shelter called to ask if we were ready to bring him back, I looked at him lying with his head on Boomer's paw. "He's already home," I said. One Saturday morning, Scout finally found his voice. He let out a sharp, happy bark in the kitchen. We started training, walking on leashes, and overcoming his fears. I kept a journal of every milestone: his first treat from Dad, his first time playing tug. He eventually became an official therapy dog. We visited nursing homes where he was called a gentleman and a little lion. He had this incredible way of making people feel seen. At an adoption fair, he stood as a success story, showing others what patience and love could do. By winter, he was no longer a rescue, he was a rescuer. Then came a phone call that changed everything. A man named Ray had seen Scout's poster. He wasn't someone who abandoned his dog, he was someone who had lost everything: his wife, his job, and his home. Scout, then named Rusty, had gotten lost while Ray was trying to find work. We met in the park. Ray cried when he saw him. Although Scout didn't fully return to his old life, we allowed Ray to visit. It wasn't about ownership anymore, it was about healing for both of them. Scout's impact grew beyond our town. He helped a boy named Caleb find his voice to read aloud for the first time. We were invited to conferences to speak about youth-led animal advocacy. I told the world, every dog has something worth saving, you just have to sit with them long enough to see it. We started a program called Scout Circle to help at-risk youth. These kids saw themselves in Scout, quiet, guarded, but capable of greatness. We even began helping the shelter's most difficult cases. Scout became the anchor dog, sitting calmly with terrified new arrivals like Tank or Holly, teaching them how to be brave. My sister Maddie even made scrapbooks to inspire other foster families. Scout was no longer just my dog, he was a symbol of hope. Tragedy struck when we lost Boomer to old age. The house felt empty, and Scout grieved deeply. But even in his sadness, he helped others deal with their own losses. Eventually, a new pup named Timber arrived, scared and silent, just like Scout once was. Scout took Timber under his wing, showing him the ropes of being a therapy dog. Timber learned that hands can be gentle and that quiet doesn't mean alone. We launched the Paws program, Positive Actions with Support, in schools. Timber and Scout worked as a team, helping kids with behavioral challenges. Timber proved he didn't need to fix people, he just needed to be there. Scout was getting older, his muzzle turning white, but his presence was stronger than ever. In his final days, Scout slowed down. He didn't want to walk as far, and his naps grew longer. He passed away peacefully, surrounded by the family that believed in him when no one else would. But Scout didn't leave us empty-handed. He left a legacy of thousands of lives touched, a statewide program, and a new generation of dogs like Timber to carry on his work. As I sit by the garden fence today, I know he's still listening. He wasn't unadoptable. He was a miracle.